the story of the time that I saved Goldman Sachs from bankruptcy. And so, I started this company in January of 2006. And at the time, we had this observation. We were tracking I was just doing it personal, tracking the housing market for my needs in Silicon Valley. I've done data software forever, but I started realizing that I had real insights that at the time nobody else had. You couldn't just go get market data.
Yeah.
There was like, these homes sold 2 months ago is about what you could get.
Yeah.
And so we had more insight than anybody had about the housing market, and I was doing it personally. I had those realizations, so I said, "Let's go commercialize this and build a company." One of the very first conferences I went to, I'm in the audience, and on stage there were guys that were from Goldman and Lehman, and a couple other places that they were the ones that were trading the mortgage derivatives
Okay.
at the time. So in 2006, these guys were like masters of the universe, big money, and they were, like this was a massive, massive trade. So I'm thinking these guys need my data. I
Yeah.
snuck backstage into the speaker lounge,
Love it.
and I go to the guy from Lehman Brothers. I said, yeah, my name is Mike Simonsen. My company's Altos Research. We track the housing market. We track every home for sale every week. We track all the supply and demand. We check the prices, the changes in that data, and then we pump it out every Monday so that you know it way before the traditional data. And I can tell you exactly what's happening in the market. And the guy from Lehman Brothers looked at me. He goes, Mike, I don't need your data. I have so much data you couldn't possibly imagine. I've got so much. I was like, okay, well, this guy's not my customer, right? But I'm new, brand new entrepreneur. I'm like, I go and I find the Goldman guy, and I go, my name is Mike Simonsen. My company's Altos Research. We track the active housing market. We track every home for sale in the country every week. We track all the pricing, all the supply and demand, all the changes in that data, so that you can see the signals way before the traditional data. And the guy from Goldman says, "Oh, that's interesting. Let me see a sample. If I like it, I'll buy it." And so 12 weeks later, Goldman Sachs is my first enterprise data license customer. And 12 months later, Lehman Brothers ceases to exist. They almost brought down the entire global financial system.
Yeah, they sure did.
Right? And the reason was the difference between those two firms was that Goldman got short one quarter before the rest of the street.
Mm-hmm.
Goldman said, "Wow, this market is turning. We're going to short these derivatives." While Lehman Brothers was still long and super leveraged. And the lesson there is, of course, Mike's data saves the world, but also the lesson is that we have data. There's all kinds of data, but you really have to have a certain humility to let the data tell you what's going on. We all have our take on where the market is heading and what we expect it to head and what we want it to do, but we have to watch the data and see if it's telling us something that is like falsifying our hypothesis every day. And the guys at Goldman were savvy enough to let the data do that. And so I joked that I said me and Warren Buffett we saved Goldman Sachs, but in reality it was that attitude that those folks had to look for data in Altos. They were happy to see it from us. They were happy to look for it in other partners. I spoke with yesterday at a conference the guy who was the CEO of Ameriprise at the time, and who was in the subprime space, and he said he was talking to Goldman at that moment too, and letting them know what was going on. And so it was really, but so that's that. But the lesson there is like we have a bunch of data, and the world has data, and 18 years later we have more data, and the question is how can you be humble enough to let the data tell us what it wants to tell us.
Yep.